Here's some very simple facets of what happened in the midterms just now, 2022. The people who ran on QAnon conspiracy theories and Stop the Steal and Trump won in 2020 did not do very well. Did not do very well at all. And there's a very simple reason for that. The Republican Party and people running within the Republican Party have a big problem. They have been dancing with the devil. And if you dance with the devil, you must pay the piper. You'll try to put it off. Everyone will try to put it off. But when evil things are done, the piper must be paid. Sometimes bad things happen to people, and it's not, and that's no proof that they did anything wrong. But when they work toward the overthrow of their body civil, then the piper will have to be paid. And that's the problem for the Republican Party right now. They found a fast, cheap, simple, easy way to money and power, which is division, confusion, lack of trust in government, telling people who to fear, who to blame. It's a very business-like way of running a nation. The purpose of a business is to build power and money for the principles of the business. The purpose of government is the public good. Those two things are not the same at all. You can build power within politics by selling a rancid, nasty, poisonous, debilitating product of bigotry and racism and hate and division. Oh yeah, and it'll sell too. If you run a prostitution ring, you can make money. It'll sell. You can sell all kinds of horrible, horrible stuff. You can sell fentanyl and you can make money. That's a business model. That's capitalism at its finest. Capitalism is amoral. What is my point in all this? Now that what happened in this election cycle is paying the piper. The Republicans are in a very awful situation. Specifically and especially a new candidate cannot get through the primaries without the endorsement of Donald Trump and the MAGA base, the violent extremists, the people that they have brought to a froth through lies and deception and telling them what they want to hear. No, you were right about that 2020 election. You voted for the winner. It's just those nasty Democrats. They stole the election from you. And that's a lot easier to believe than you were on the wrong side. You were on the losing side. And an idea that nobody wants to believe. It's hard. I often say if I vote for somebody, that's sometimes the kiss of death, though not this time. So all candidates and especially all new candidates know that the first thing they have to do in Republican politics is bow the knee in front of Donald Trump and tell him he is their idol. They will say whatever he tells them to say. They will not contradict him. They will follow in his footsteps. That is the first thing a Republican politician has to do if he wants to pass the primaries. Because remember, who votes in primaries? Only Republicans. And usually in primaries, only the most committed people of that party's base vote. Primaries, very often, not very many people vote in them, which is always a benefit for Republicans and is especially a benefit for MAGA Republicans. So they can really have their way in primaries. And if a politician doesn't make it through primaries, they are DEAD. They are dead insofar as any further campaign. A politician can have wonderful ideas, the best ideas in the world. He can be a wonderful guy, but if he doesn't get through the primaries, nothing else matters. Then So to get through the primaries, he has to he has to sell his soul to Donald Trump. Well, then what happens, then what happens for the general election? You don't win the general election if you have been shown to be an absolute fool before the primaries. But you must show yourself an evil person to win a primary. This is the deal with the devil. That where Republicans have placed themselves. The only way to get through the primaries is to show yourself a quisling to Trump, and everyone sees that. Then you go into the general election, and everyone has seen what you've done. And so, of course, the Trump's quislings that are running say, "Oh, I didn't say that. Oh no, the election wasn't stolen." He's been saying that for a long. "Oh no, I'm not going to falsify elections in the future. You know, nobody would want me to do. I don't want to do that," which is exactly what they said. Prior to that, they said, "If you elect me, you'll never have to vote again because I'll make sure Republicans win from here on." Well, that's nasty if you go into a general election where everyone in your district votes and you have to get a big majority of everyone to go with you. That is what happened to Republicans. It is the deal they have made with the devil, and this is part of the price that has to be paid to the piper, and it hurts. It always hurts to pay the piper once you've sold your soul. Now, you might say, but hold it. This worked for Donald Trump. He got through the primaries. He knocked out 1 million other candidates. And then he got elected. How did it work for him and not for someone else? Well, one thing, in my opinion, he ran against Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton has been the right's, oh my goodness, punching bag for decades. But here is in my opinion, the most important difference between Donald Trump and his campaign and all these other Donald Trump lookalikes and their campaign. Donald Trump has Vladimir Putin and, hundreds of officers in the Russian army who sit at computers all day long putting out propaganda and misinformation for Donald Trump's benefit. We're dealing with a Russian mindset here. They don't think, oh my goodness, if I get Republicans in, maybe they'll treat me better. No, that's not the way it works in Russia. You get a man who is your man, who you have the goods on. Has he been laundering money for you for time out of mind? You own that man. Do you have all the goods on him? Has he demonstrated over and over again that he'll do whatever Vladimir Putin says? You're looking for a person that you can hold over the barrel and own. And that's what Vladimir Putin believes, and I also believe, that he has in Donald Trump. He doesn't have that in DeSantis. He doesn't have that in any of the other Republican candidates. Those other candidates, DeSantis and all the rest, they are in it for themselves. So not in it for the public good. They're in it for themselves. And that is not how you get thousands and tens of thousands of Russian bots to multiply and everything you say and amplify all of your messages and give you far more influence than you would otherwise normally have. And that is why, in my opinion, that is why what works for Donald Trump does not work for other Republican candidates. And that also explains why so many of those candidates who had sold their soul to Trump didn't benefit from that when it came time for the votes to be counted. Because it's not Trump that has the power. It's Vladimir Putin, who owns the internet insofar as the right is concerned to sell, oh, Paul Pelosi, he probably attacked that guy in his hammer and probably doing something nasty homosexual with that guy who attacked him with the hammer. And yeah, the other candidates do not have Russia behind them to support them.